Chapter 5 of A Lucky Penny by a Self-Made Man. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 5, in which Tom experiences a rude shock. "I wonder what brought him over here," mused Garland, as the watchman piloted the way toward the house, Mr. Sleek following close behind. "Come to see if I'm well taken care of, maybe? I'll have to call his attention to our measly diet. I believe the watchdog is fed better." Pretty soon Tom heard his uncle's voice in the hall, and almost immediately Mr. Wicks appeared at the parlor door and ushered his visitor into the room. Tom, hidden behind the heavy dark curtains, was not observed, and before the boy had decided just what he ought to do under the circumstances, the two men took chairs within a foot or two of his place of concealment, and immediately entered into a confidential conversation, the nature of which gave the listener the surprise of his life. "How's my nephew, Tom Garland, getting on?" began Mr. Sleek. "All right, my dear sir," replied Mr. Wicks, rubbing his hands softly one over the other. "He's a bright boy, a very bright boy, I may say." Ejaculated Mr. Sleek dryly. "We started him at the printing trade, and he has surprised us with the rapidity with which he is picking it up. Seems to have a natural aptitude for the business." "Then he hasn't made any objection yet to the stringency of your rules, or to his forced confinement on the premises?" "Not at all. As to confinement, well, my daughter seems to have taken a fancy to him as an escort. He's the best dressed as well as the best behaved boy on the farm, and she insisted on having him go with her to the matinee this afternoon." "I thought that was contrary to your regulations, Mr. Wicks," said Mr. Sleek, manifestly surprised at the news, which did not seem to please him. "Yes, of course," replied Mr. Wicks suavely, "but this is an exception. It probably won't occur again." "I hope not, sir," said Mr. Sleek stiffly, much to Tom's astonishment. "I don't want the boy to get away from this place until I am ready to ship him off with my friend Captain Boone, whom I expect to arrive in Boston any day now from the East Indies." "I'll see that he doesn't get out again, Mr. Sleek." "I trust you will. Better keep a sharp eye on him. He's a bright boy, as you say, rather too bright for me to have around loose. Look out he doesn't give you the slip." "My dear sir, we have a high wall with spikes on top of it, and then there's the watchman, while a ferocious bulldog roams the yard at night. There isn't the least chance of his getting away by his own resources." "Glad to hear it," said Mr. Sleek in a tone which left not the slightest doubt in the hidden boy's mind that he meant it. "Great Scott!" the lad muttered. "What have I ever done to Uncle Aminadab that he's got it in for me so bad?" "You expect to send the boy to sea, Mr. Sleek?" asked Mr. Wicks regretfully, for he had hoped to reap much advantage from Tom's services as soon as he became a proficient workman. "I do." "A sailor's life presents very few advantages for a boy of his ability." "That doesn't interest me," replied Mr. Sleek shortly. Then it appears to me that the boy's future does not concern you very much," said Mr. Wicks slyly. "It concerns me very much, sir, but not in the way you may think." "In what way, then, might I ask?" inquired the proprietor of the farm inquisitively. "That is my business, Mr. Wicks. If a reptile was to cross your path, sir, what would you do?" "I should be strongly tempted to crush it," replied Mr. Wicks promptly. "Exactly. Maybe you can see a similitude, then, between a reptile and—" "Your nephew," said the other, supplying the missing words as Mr. Sleek paused. "He doesn't look like a reptile," went on Mr. Wicks insinuatingly. "All reptiles don't look alike," said the respectable member of the Boston Society significantly. "Most of them are by nature given to crawling, but occasionally we come across one with 2 legs. This was very true, though it was quite possible neither Bentley Wicks nor the smoothly spoken Mr. Sleek saw any likeness to themselves in this allusion. "So Tom Garland is really a reptile, is he?" "In this respect he is, an obnoxious obstruction in my path." "I begin to understand. The boy interferes with certain plans you have formed." You propose to remove him so that those plans may proceed without opposition?" Mr. Sleek nodded. "My very dear sir, you are not alone in this. I have another boy confided in my indulgent care by his stepfather, Dr. Hawk." Tom started, for Dick Rogers had told him that his relative's name was Hawk. "This boy's father was rich, and when he died, left the bulk of his property to his son," went on Mr. Wicks confidentially. "The boy's mother, it seems, married Dr. Hawk, a physician of some ability, but after a short time died of rapid consumption. Dr. Hawk decided to give up housekeeping and sent his stepson, the young heir, to me. As the boy is not strong and something of a cripple—" "Was that he I saw just now in your garden?" interrupted Mr. Sleek curiously. "Very likely. As I was saying, his health not being very robust, Dr. Hawk believes the boy will soon die, and that the money and bonds left to the boy will then revert to him. He believes the boy may have the germs of consumption in his blood. At any rate, the land stands in the doctor's way, a kind of reptile you would call him, I think, and Dr. Hawk and yourself entertain similar views as to what ought to be done with such things." "Now, the purport of my visit was to inform you that you may expect a visit from Captain Boone very soon, maybe in 2 weeks. You will therefore understand that he represents me in this matter, and I authorize you to follow whatever instructions he gives you in reference to Tom Garland." "Certainly, sir, if that is your desire," replied Wicks deferentially. "After the captain shall have taken the boy in his charge, you will send your bill to me by mail." "Very well, Mr. Sleek." "That is all, I think, so I will now take my departure, feeling sure I can depend on you to keep a close watch over my nephew until Captain Boone presents his credentials as my representative." Mr. Sleek picked up his hat, and then the mogul of the industrial farm politely showed him out by the front door. Mr. Wicks had hardly returned to his office below before Miss Fanny, his daughter, came into the parlor with a skip and a jump. "Tom Garland, where are you?" she cried, looking around. "Here," said Tom, coming from behind the curtain. "Looking out of the window? Why, how white your face is! You're not sick, are you?" she asked with some concern. "No," replied the boy, pulling himself together. "I'm feeling like a top." "I'm glad to hear it," she said. "I see your color is coming back. Maybe something you had for dinner disagreed with you?" "No," answered the boy gravely. "It was something else that disagreed with me." "What was that?" "I saw a couple of reptiles just now, and they gave me a start, that's all." "Oh!" exclaimed the girl with a laugh. "But there's the dinner bell. You and I will go downstairs together." End of chapter 5.